Well, good afternoon. I'm Bill Anderson, coming live from the they call it the Costa del Sol, but we'll talk about that in just a moment. And I'm delighted to have my guest with me today, Ken Hook. Welcome, Ken.
Thanks, Bill. I should say, it's not exactly the Costa del Sol, has it?
We have we'll get your story in a minute, but how many years have you been here, Ken?
Oh, 30 years
30
this
years.
year.
Have you
Yeah.
ever seen anything like what we had yesterday before?
No, rack my brains, nothing. Obviously, here, when not any rain for a while, there's a bit of dust in there and it comes down, but nothing like the mud that's now covering my terraces.
It's incredible, isn't it? I mean, to try to paint people a picture. When we looked out of our windows yesterday, it was like looking at one of these old sepia tinted photographs, wasn't it? It it was
Yeah, weird. Orange, just orange everywhere.
it was just yeah. The light was orange. Everything looked almost in black and white and sepia tinted. It was incredible, wasn't it?
It certainly was. But I live right opposite a golf course here, and I'm watching the golfers come past. I'm wondering how on earth do they see the golf balls? I just
Oh
I
my
couldn't make. I couldn't see them. I'm watching them playing the ball, and but we golfers love our golf, don't we? So
Oh,
we've got
you
to do
do.
it
But
regardless of weather.
they say it never rains on the golf course. Is that true?
It does, and I can vouch for that many, many times.
Yeah, it's been incredible. We've, I mean, yeah, as Ken said, we've always had sort of Sahara dust, getting into the atmosphere and sometimes falling, and it was always a bit dirty rain. But what was falling last night or yesterday was mud. It wasn't even rain. Everything is covered in mud. It's been incredible. We needed the rain though, Ken, didn't we?
Well, we were desperate. We were just on the drought alert, weren't we?
Yeah, well, I think the day that the drought alert was due to be issued was when it actually rained, and it hasn't really stopped since. That's been about 10 days off and on. And the good thing is that we're going to be able to have a shower in the summer.
Yeah, that'll come in handy. Mind you, I wouldn't like to go in the swimming pool on our urbanisation at the moment. You can't swim in it. You can only stand up.
Ken, you've been here 30 years. Where are you from originally?
Well, I'm a Scot by birth. Brought south of the border when I was 8 years old, and brought up in just between Bradford and Leeds.
Oh, you poor
Um,
soul. You poor soul. All that Scottish education lost.
I can still go back into it, Bill, very
Oh,
easily.
oh, can you now? So you're kind of it's interesting because Vicky left Spain. My wife left Spain when she was 8 and moved away to Australia. So it's quite a kind of formative time of your life, isn't it? Sort of from 8 years on, the way
Well, at
you're
8 years old,
developing.
you don't like to be different from everybody else.
Right.
So my Scottish accent got me in a few scrapes, shall I say, until eventually the Yorkshire bit kicked in, and that was it.
Yeah.
But I'm a proud Scotsman, but equally I'm a proud Yorkshireman as well.
Now, have I seen you in the kilt, Ken?
I've got the full stuff. I'm only on for a couple of years, but I'll send you a photograph. Looks
I
splendid.
listen. I don't think any of us have had the kilt on for a couple of years because we haven't been anywhere hardly.
Well, the last time I wore it was 2 years ago. It's a New Year's do,
Right.
and temperatures were about 26 degrees. I must have lost 5 kilos.
Yeah. Well, listen. I wore my kilt to my investiture as a local councillor here in July 2019.
Ooh.
And
I remember the photograph
in
and thinking about that at
in
the
in
time.
Mijas Pueblo, which is about 400 meters above sea level, so the sun hits you up there. And
Oof.
I was just about dropping when we went for a meal afterwards. Fortunately, Vicky had stuck a pair of linen trousers in the car for me, and it's like I need to get this off because I'm just gonna drop if I don't.
Was I do remember seeing the photographs. It looked very impressive, and you certainly stood out.
Thank you, Ken. So, born in Scotland, moved down to Yorkshire, and what happened after that? What kind of work did you go into then, Ken?
Well, I went into the motor trade for a few years because my father got fed up of me sitting around twiddling my thumbs and trying to make me mind up of what. So he just went out and found me a job.
Right.
Um, I actually quite enjoyed it. Good crowd of lads, learnt a lot, and it's always come in handy right through my life what I learned doing that. But then after that, I decided that I wanted to break. This is when I was about 22, 23. So I finished my apprenticeship and decided I was going to work in a holiday camp. So I
Right.
trotted off to Great Yarmouth and ended up working a summer season, working behind a bar, having a great time.
Oh, so you
And
weren't
then,
you weren't a red coat or something, no?
nah, nothing like that. God, you've never heard me sing, Bill. You wouldn't want to. But no, I left there and went to Brighton. That's where I subsequently met my wife, although she actually was a red coat. She was the chief red. She
Right.
was in charge. I was the lowest form of living life. I worked on the plate wash,
Uh,
and we,
you,
we
you,
we barely talked. In fact, when I left to go work in Jersey, she gave me my P45.
this you
Um,
right.
yeah,
Listen, just saying that, my whole image of Christine has just changed. You know, as from now, I'm going to see her with a red jacket on, entertaining the crowds. You know.
I'll show you the photographs. I
Oh my
mean, she
goodness.
it doesn't take much for that side of her to come to the surface.
Right, right. So okay, you met Christine and you got married. Um, what happened? What happened after that, Ken? In terms of what
Well,
brought you down to
we
the
couldn't
Costa del
settle.
Sol?
Well, because of the lifestyle we had, we couldn't really settle down. So we decided to take ourselves. We bought this 100-year-old home converted Ford Transit van and toured around Europe for about a year,
Right.
just working in Italy, Yugoslavia, anywhere where we could, as soon as we ran out of money, work a little bit. And then we came back eventually and decided we've got to get serious and start working again. So
So
Chris,
join
Chris
the adult world, yeah.
well, yeah. Chris's mum and dad were great. I'd never even met them when I got married, and my parents hadn't met Chris.
Right.
So they were great people, and they mustn't have liked me that much though, because when we set off on this trip, they lived in Dagenham, and in those days, without mobile phones and the internet and everything else, it's very difficult to keep in touch.
It
And when we
was,
got back
yeah.
to their house in Dagenham, they'd moved without telling us. That's dropping a hint, isn't it?
It is. It's one of these
But we,
apocryphal stories, isn't it? But it was real.
but we did track them down, and we started working. And I started working for the Ford Motor Company as a buyer, and my motor training came into that. And Ford's taught me a lot. Um, and Chris went to work as for a firm of insurance underwriters in the city,
Hmm.
and she did very well from that. She went from being a secretary to the first female director of a firm of Lloyd's underwriting agencies in its
Right.
history. And then we decided we did quite well for ourselves. We decided to buy a house in Spain in 1987, I think it was, and we came
Right.
down and bought a house here in Riviera del Sol. Not even thinking about being there because I was only, I don't know, what was it? Do the maths. I was 36. Never thinking I'd be living there in 5 years' time. But we decided we were both fed up of working in the jobs we're in. I actually ended up working for Sky Television, doing all their
Okay.
satellite equipment distribution. And so, again, logistics and things like that came in handy, things I'd learned as I was going along. So we ended up just packing everything into an old estate car and driving down here in 1992. In 1987, what got me started in golf was Miraflores was under construction, the golf course.
Right.
And the agent that showed me the house just alerted me to it and said, look, it's a good investment. I wasn't even thinking about playing golf at that time. So I decided to buy a couple of shares, again, not thinking much about golf at all. So in 1992, when I arrived, and I just thought, right, okay, I'm going to take some time off. So I used to sneak up there in the morning before anybody else arrived and started knocking golf balls down the fairways
Right.
at 6 o'clock in the morning, first light, until eventually the greenkeepers caught me and said, you can't come on at this time in the morning. But
So
I really, really enjoyed playing golf at Miraflores.
was this one of the first golf courses down here on this part of the coast, Ken?
No, but it was one of the earlier ones. I mean, you go back in time, the first courses were the Parador, Torrecabrada, and
Right,
some of the Marbella courses. But Miraflores was when I first saw it under construction. I thought this is insane. It's in the middle of nowhere. It's in the what seemed to me to be in the middle of the countryside, the Campo.
right.
But it matured over time, and it's a nice golf course. And more importantly, because it was just starting, there was a lot of members, shareholders, because in those days you bought shares in the company that owned it. And
Right.
there was 1,500 shares. So I got to know a lot of people who I still know now, who became very good friends and gave me a lot of help and advice. And so everything I'd started in golf all started through Miraflores Golf.
Ah, right. Okay. And well, it certainly. I mean, I remember this area around about the mid 1990s, and it's a very different area now to what it was then, isn't it? In terms of the rate at which it's all been developed, and Miraflores is in the middle of everything now. It's not in the middle of nothing.
Oh, it's right. When I first bought the chair then played there, it's just surrounded by countryside. Now, of course, it's completely surrounded on every single fairway by apartments.
Yeah,
It's still playable, it's still enjoyable, and it's still a nice place to go play around a golf.
sure.
But it was one of the early ones. And again, one of the things I did at the time, I used to play for the team. So I got up and down the golf course, the coast, playing in various golf courses.
Right.
So I got to know the coast quite well and made again a lot of contacts and everything else. I was always a bandit at golf. I think my lowest I ever got was 15. I was
Okay.
what I call an enthusiastic golfer rather than a good one.
So, you come over here. You're playing hooky on the golf course at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Okay,
Uh,
using my name is right.
yeah, I promise not to do any Captain Hook
Uh,
jokes. Right.
all right, you're the first one who never has.
Yeah, indeed, indeed. Um, so, how did that sort of go from there, Ken, to setting up Sunshine Golf?
Well, I got to meet a couple of people in there who ran a company in the UK, which was a travel agency, and they specialised in golf holidays. And they were looking for somebody to handle the golf course, the golfers when they arrived here on the coast.
Right,
And because I'd been playing for the team at Miraflores, I knew most of the golf courses because I'd played most of them. So what I used to do is I started working with them. They had contracts with a couple of the national newspapers, sending over quite big groups of golfers.
right.
So I'd meet them at the airport. This is in the old terminal before the Pablo Picasso terminal,
Mm,
and I'd get them in hire cars, and then we set on convoy to their accommodation. And in those days, we used to use timeshare apartments because they had
right.
all the facilities there. The apartments were identical. There's no arguing about you've got a better room than me and all this kind of stuff.
Uh,
And we'd arrange golf for them for the week. And when we got there, we'd have a bit of a welcome drink, tell everybody to be careful where they put the golf clubs, don't leave them in your golf in the car. Everybody comes on holiday to relax. And unfortunately, you've got to look after your golf equipment. Uh, Too many, not too many, but people, thieves.
yeah, but the thing is, in this kind of area, though, Ken, it's not that it's a sort of den of crooks and robbers, but it does attract people because there are easy pickings sometimes from the tourists,
Yeah, unfortunately, so like I say, it's not a big issue. It's just when you come on holiday, just be as careful as you are normally at home with your golf clubs. They cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
They're your pride and joy. They've probably been made for you, fitted for you. You've been given to you as a gift, whatever else. So look after them, as you would do at home. So we used to just sit down, have a couple of drinks, arrange what we were going to do because most of the people we brought over were couples. And of course, with the Brits, I love them. The women inside look to me halfway through the evening and say, I've come with my husband, but I don't want to see him till the end of the week.
And then slip you 20 euros.
And then you learn to be a diplomat. and which comes difficult. It's very difficult for me. Um, so you'd say, right, okay, you find a formal words. Who wants to see the husband before the end of the week? And most of them would stick their hands up. I don't want to see him at all, except to buy the drinks and the meal in the evening.
Right, right.
So I used to arrange all the four balls, and I used to try and do different four balls every day, so everybody got to know each other, and we build a bit of an atmosphere. And then I'd arrange all the golf, and we'd have competitions. It was normally a 5-round week, and we'd take a Wednesday off. But some of the golfers would want to play every day. And then my job then was to get them all out of bed in the morning
Uh-huh.
and set off in convoy to whichever golf course we chose. In those days, again, Miraflores, we used to play twice. We used to have the first round there and the final round. And then we play Torre Quebrada, Santa Maria, La Cala golf courses, and occasionally intermix other golf courses. Because
Yeah,
logistics came into it. You couldn't be going too far away because
yeah.
of traveling time. And this long convoy of cars, you'd end up losing people. So
You would certainly
and
do that
eventually,
now, yeah. I mean
and
that was doable in the 1990s, Ken, with the main coastal road. It would be really hard to keep convoys
on the
going
motorway
nowadays.
now. This is pre-motorway.
Yeah.
And of course, and some people just didn't get out of bed. I don't know why they came to play golf sometimes because they just wanted to come and party, you know.
Uh-huh.
And that's great. They're on holiday; they can do what they like. So
Sure.
inevitably, I'd stand on the first tee, get them all started off, get the competition arranged, and there'd be something. I'd always slot in and play a round of golf. So I played a lot of golf.
Right.
Play golf every single day of the week,
I, I'm I'm
and I
I'm
got to
I'm
know.
I'm going to ask you a really ignorant question here, Ken. In terms of the golf season on the Costa del Sol, what would you class as high season and what would you class as low season, just out of interest?
Well, it's changed significantly over the years. In the early years, basically, the season was very short. It was basically February, March, bit of April past Easter, and then in the autumn you'd have October and November, and then there was an off season for December, January, and virtually nothing in summer
Right.
because it was perceived as being too hot. But what used to happen in the summer, of course, the golf courses were desperate to get people into place, so they reduced the prices significantly and throw in buggy deals, take the windscreens out of the buggy, and so over a period of years, as the golf courses and the travel agents like ourselves used to work with them, we try and incentivize people to come outside of the main period because golf became so popular very quickly in the 90s that you couldn't get green fee times. They were
Right.
booked up 6 months in advance. So the peak times were booked up, the times that people want, say from 8 in the morning till 12.
Mm.
Um, so you used to try and do deals to stretch it through the year. And of course, people began to realize, yeah, it's actually quite nice if you can get off in summer to play a round of golf, get up early. You get a buggy as part of the deal. It's a lot cheaper. There was always the thing of bringing your own golf clubs. But God love Mr. Leary with Ryanair. He started charging for bringing your golf clubs.
Right.
So people started to balk at that, but that's where we got involved in a big way with club rentals. So we started providing hire sets as well,
Right.
which has became a very, very important part of the business.
So really, what I always recognised as Sunshine Golf was this lovely big shop front with all the golf clubs in stretched out along the window and everything set up inside. That really came after what you started then, didn't it?
Yeah, we searched around. We were looking for somewhere to have a golf shop, and of course, being recently here, not too the finance was important. We were looking for somewhere we could afford primarily.
Sure.
Location is always vital, and we found a gym, a subterranean gym underneath a block of apartments in La Cala,
Uh-huh.
and it was enormous. It was huge. The guy had gone out of business, and we walked into there and had a look around, and we thought we could do something here. Um, so we, on a wing and a prayer, we went down, spent 3 months basically ripping it all out, trying to keep the cost down to bare minimum,
Right.
doing most of it ourselves, fitting it all out. Then in February 1998, we opened up, and as we were then Sunshine Golf Factory Direct,
All right.
because we were bringing in clubs and stuff from the UK. And they were clone copy golf clubs because they were cheap, and I didn't know any better. And also, we were bringing in clothing that wasn't appropriate, made loads and loads of mistakes. But
Right.
however, we focused and listened to people, and we very quickly were able to make inroads and get the confidence of the big manufacturers like Callaway and Ping and TaylorMade and all the clothes suppliers and the agents. And my philosophy always was to listen to the customers. Still is, not in it anymore, but it was always my philosophy. You know, you're born with two ears, one mouth, using that in proportion, believe it or not,
Sure.
even though I'm gabbing away. So listen to people, and it became, and of course, we're doing the green fees at the same time, car rentals, everything. You know, we were working long hours, but it was thoroughly enjoyable and a massive challenge. And the staff we had were great.
Yeah.
Found some good people. You can't run a good business without good people. And it fortunately was successful. A lot of competition in the early days from the clubs themselves because they saw us as competition, and we were selling the green fees, so that took a little bit of a while to work between them.
Sure.
But generally, we worked it and we kept on working it until
Hmm.
eventually we were able to acquire the locale next door at ground level.
Right. Which is the
Um,
one that I know, really.
Yeah, the one that everybody knows now. No one
Yeah.
knows about the other one. The other, we eventually moved out in 2006, 2002, and we knocked it all into one. It was one huge shop, the underground part, where the original part, and then over the two floors, the ground floor and the lower level floor. But it was just too big. You couldn't see where everything was. So in the end, we said, right, okay, we've got to downsize and focus on the new part, which we did,
Hmm.
and we sold the old part to a religious radio program,
All
and
right.
they're still there. Good people, good neighbours, everything else. But then we moved into the next door and had to do all that work again. But again, we had a good staff, and everybody just got stuck in. Good suppliers, all the suppliers backed us. A lot of work, but well worth it.
Yeah. So basically, you were able to some extent, Ken, to turn what was a hobby and an interest into a business, and then you got to play all these rounds of golf as well.
Yeah, I mean, at the beginning, it was a financial imperative. I needed to earn a crust, and it's how difficult it is to earn a living here. You can find lots of jobs, but getting paid for them is a different kettle of fish.
Sure, sure.
So in the end, you have to take it into your own hands and start working for yourself, and just hope you can make it. My wife Christine, without her, I just couldn't have done it. She was fantastic, hard work, really tremendous support, Christine.
Yeah, yeah, and but I think that's probably true of a lot of us, Ken. To be honest, there's one thing being, if you like, the public face, whether it's of a business or the public work that I do, but really without the support of our partners, it would be very difficult to do exactly what we do, and the amount of
No,
things they do in the
it'd be
background.
impossible. It'd be
Yeah.
impossible because Chris focused on all the clothes and the fashion and everything else, and I focused on the clubs and the hardware.
So
And
the clothes and fashion started to go uphill a bit after Chris took over that bit. Yeah.
well, she wouldn't even let me near it in the first place. She knew I'd be useless at it. The thing is, Chris has got OCD. Everything has to be 110% right. It's
Right.
got to be right. And she just pushes me to one side, and I just get on with. She says, "You do that. I'll do
Uh,
this." And we sit down at home. Of course, again, when you're running your own business, it's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week,
sure.
365 days a year. Um, and that was just golf, 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 golf. Everything you do,
Sure.
everything you focused on it. But again, the great thing was because we were selling all the green fees. When I did get off, I was getting the courses were kind enough to give me courtesy. So I'm playing all these lovely golf courses for nothing. That's the enduring perk of that.
Yeah. Listen, we're going to take a break in a minute, Ken, and we're going to talk about some of the courses and some of your experiences. But just to give people an idea, I don't know if you even have this number. In Mijas alone, how many golf courses do we have?
In Mijas, there's 12. There's 9 full courses, the La Cala courses, Santana, Miraflores, of course. And you got the 9-hole courses, like the smaller one up in Calahon de la Siesta, the full-size one at Cerrado. And there's a 6-hole course up at La Cala as well.
Right.
And the other 9-hole course is, it's just jumped, oh God, it jumped out here. La Noria, of
La
course.
Noria,
Right
yeah,
next
that's
door.
the new
La
one.
Noria, I should know that.
Yeah.
I look over it every day.
You live next door to it, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean that's a lot of golf courses in just one municipality, isn't it?
It is. It's great, and then, and if you edge out towards the Costa del Sol within a travel, say within an hour's drive either side, there's a total of 70.
Oh,
so it really is the centre of golf in Europe.
Yeah.
And top quality golf courses that everybody knows all over the world. Finca Cortesín and Valderrama, to name but two.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic. It's a golfer's paradise.
Yeah. Okay, Ken, we're going to take a short ad break, and when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about some of your experiences and about some of the courses down here.
Okay.
Welcome back. I'm Bill Anderson. You're listening to Expat Radio, and I'm coming live from the Costa del Sol, the Costa del Muddy Rain, I think is a better description of it, with my guest today, Ken Hook. We're talking about all things golf down here on the Costa. Sorry, my producer just the Costa del Golf. But my producer just sent me a message saying he plays off 5.
Whoa!
Is that good?
I've played with people like that before as well.
Well, maybe when I'm older, I'll take up golf.
Oh. Well, Bill, it's a great way to waste a day. I tell you, it's great. I think it was Mark Twain said, "Golf is a good walk spoiled."
Yeah. Now, but wait a minute. Before we talk about some of the courses down here, Ken, I've got a question that I need to ask you. It's a bit like when when you wear your kilt, and somebody always says, "Is it true?"
Right. Yeah, go on.
So is it true about golfers that old golfers never die? They just lose their balls.
It's true. I love playing golf. Like I say, I've always been an enthusiastic golfer. I love turning up and playing with people I don't know.
Right.
I'll tell you a true story. This.
Go on.
I was invited to play at Valderrama one day. There's me boasting. And when you go to Valderrama, they treat you so well. It's so professional. It's a fabulous golf course.
Right.
And I went to play, and I was invited by a guy called Frank Bowles, who used to be the editor of the Sunshine Golf News.
Right.
And he wasn't playing himself, but he invited 3 other guys. And we all teed off, and we sort of knew each other by repute because they're all through the golfing industry. Anyway, I'm paired up with this. Now, bearing in mind, my surname is Hook.
Yes.
I'm sharing a buggy with Roger Wedge.
Hook, Wedge.
Roger Stone's golf.
In the Roger Wedge, yeah.
In the next buggy was Colin Parr and Phil Slice.
You couldn't make that up, Ken. You couldn't make it up.
Absolutely true. We absolutely rolled around. By the third, we were just laughing. It was great.
What are the chances?
Yeah. And we enjoyed a good day's golf. You couldn't not Valderrama.
Yeah, so I mean, you were saying that we're kind of here in the centre of the Costa del Sol, really, and within an hour's drive, anyway from where we are, there's about 70 golf courses. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you played them all?
I think 2. I missed out on 2. I've somehow never managed to get down to play Guadalhorce, and I'm trying to remember the other one. Can't remember it, but that's... I used to be regular with friends, and just because I had so many friends, because I could get courtesy, they'd always, all these friends used to pop out the woodwork because they know somebody else had to come with me, It's a great golf. It's a great sport, golf, for meeting people and socialising, and just the competition as well.
Yeah. I mean, I guess with 70 golf courses and knowing the terrain around the coast, right from, reasonably flat as you come in from the coast, right up to, well, for example, here, La Cala Golf, which is built on the side of a mountain, basically. I mean, there must be just about everything for every type of player and every sporting ability and also walking and whatever. I mean, it must just provide everything, Ken.
Well, that everybody's got different expectations. Some people have never played in the Costa del Sol before, come down, and they always ask you what you ask them a few leading questions. What's your expectations? What's your handicap? And some people expect to come from somewhere like Holland and play on flat courses or
Right.
parts of the UK. So you've got to guide them into the Mijas courses,
Right.
which is Parkland course. Others who like a bit of a challenge, you'll send them up to La Cala. But having said that, La Cala, the scenery is spectacular and the courses are very challenging. And of course, if you want to go a bit further and go Alarin,
Right.
and you'll be playing, that's real target golf. Great. But if you go a little bit further in, you've got Lauro, it's Parkland course, two courses there. So
Right.
there's something for everybody.
Right.
And if you talk to a good golf business down here, a good tour operator like Sunshine Golf and in La Cala, he'll
But
guide you in the right direction.
what was the name of that, Ken?
Sunshine Golf in La Cala. But I have to point out, we do work on the green fee. We've always the green fee booking side, because it's a travel agency side and there's strict legal guidelines on who can't do it. We've always subbed that. And we work with Costa Less Golf in Fuengirola. They do our golf bookings.
Right.
Ron and Wendy have been in business for 20 odd years. Excellent company. And we just work hand in glove with them.
Yeah.
I keep on saying we because I'm retired out of it. I have no financial interest in it anymore. But I just cannot somehow stop doing it.
Yeah, but well, I mean, you haven't been retired that long, Ken, have you? And you still see all the people around because you live in this area and you bump into people all the time, don't you?
Well, Pepe, who now owns Pepe Linianarcas, he's from the Canary Islands. He worked for me as my right-hand man from 2002. He's a qualified accountant. He speaks better English than I do. He's Spanish, obviously, and his German's perfect. And he's a very intelligent, humorous, hard-working guy,
Sure.
and incredibly loyal. And he used to see the way I work with the customers, and he just slotted in with that, and he's kept it going.
Yeah.
And he was unlucky enough to buy it off me in 2019, and then, of course, 2020 along came COVID.
Yeah. Sure. Sure.
But he's recovering fantastically well, and
Hmm.
as he keeps on telling me ad nauseum.
Well, you've played all but two courses along here in the Costa del Sol. That's quite impressive, Ken. Do you have a favorite?
Oof. Do you look at every golf course, it's different, and you like different things about different golf courses. So I can't say I've got a favorite. If you were to lead me by the nose, I'd probably say Santana Golf,
All right.
because it's Parkland golf course. It's a fair golf course. It was constructed by a guy I knew, an Irish guy, and a lovely guy, and he had a lot of battles setting it up, but he did a fantastic job. He used to get every single day he walked that course with his greenkeepers and made sure it was done right. And the general manager there now is a great guy who I knew in the early days as a young guy from Salva, from Mijas. He learned his trade, and he runs a great business. And it's a lovely golf course,
Right.
and it's always in immaculate condition.
Yeah, and it's very close to us here, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just over the hill from me, so I'll just get in the car and I can be down there in 10 minutes.
Right.
And no, it's a lovely course, but if you get the opportunity, and the money's a big concern because golf isn't cheap here on the coast. I mean, an average round of golf in peak season is €100, and you can pay way above that, €350 for Valderrama. But it's that finish with Bing Crosby straight down the middle. I like it. No, it's everybody who comes down here. If whatever they want to play, ask the agents, and they will guide them in the right direction. And if you're working with a good agent, they'll make sure that you're guiding the right time. You'll get a good tee off time,
Yeah.
and you'll be teed off with. If you come down as a 2-ball, if you want to play with other people, golf's a social game. They'll help you slot in.
Yeah.
And no, it's a great. And if you've got a non-playing partner, for example, your wife, she just wants to go shopping, you can soon find a single ball. You can soon slot them in with somebody else. And in
Right.
someone in particular, when a guy comes down and he wants to play, he's thinking, can I sneak off for a round of golf and leave the kids on the beach? They just need to nip into. Again, I'm promoting. It's terrible, isn't it? Sunshine Golf, and get yourself a higher set, and they'll book you a game of golf. Sneak off and have a game of golf, and that way you keep on good terms with the wife if you get away early and
That's
get
right.
back.
Well, I'm just wondering if Pepe is slipping you a bung here for mentioning Sunshine Golf, Ken. You know.
Of course, it is.
So, since you've retired, I know things have been a bit strange over this last 2 years, but do you find yourself playing more golf, less golf, or?
Well, when I stopped, golf dominated my life for 20 years, and my wife was really worried about what I was going to do. I'm going to drive around the bend. I do that as normally anyway. It's my job, but I carried on playing golf less frequently. Somehow I just needed to download
Right.
the whole thing from the system. And then, of course, COVID got in the way and completely ruined my plans. My handicap, which was dire anyway, has continued to raise. I'm going to have to start wearing a skirt. All my friends in inverted commas know how bad I am. One of the things I always used to hate and avoid like the plague was invitations, because the business did well and we did a lot of people got to know the business, and I'd get invitations to pro-ams and things, and I always used to turn them down, because I'd get on the first tee and somebody, oh, that's Ken Up from Sunshine Golf, and then I'd end up not even getting the ball as far as the ladies' tee, and there'd be sniggers and everything else, because they just expected you to be the super duper golfer.
Right.
But
Right.
I used to take it. Well, it's a question of I wouldn't take it. Just have a laugh. But no, I am playing. I've promised myself once well, now COVID's on the back, and I'm ready to start playing some more golf, and I'll probably get involved with one of the local golf societies and just sit in the background and keep my mouth shut.
Right. We got some advice from our producer Dave here. He said, try playing left-handed on the driving range, then go back to right hand, and you'll be amazed.
Hey, I am left-handed, but I play right-handed, and I can't do anything else that way.
Maybe that's the problem.
I had a Polish guy come into the shop one day, and he said, and his son would be about 16. He was a big, beefy lad. He says, I can't make up my mind whether he can play golf right or left-handed. So I took him in the nets and went through everything, and he was ambidextrous. He could see equally well with both.
Right.
So he said, I want a set of custom-fitted clubs for him. I said, well, I don't know which ones to do for him, left-handed or right-handed. So I asked him, the young guy, and he said, I'll go right-handed because everybody plays right-handed. So we did him a set right-handed, and off he went. About 3 years later, the guy came back in, his father. He said, how's he doing? He's a pro now, and he still plays ambidextrous, and it depends how he's feeling on a day as to which set he goes out with. How he does that, I do not know.
Yeah. Ken, do you have another little secret? No, I haven't been talking to Chris. But since you're retired, you've taken up a new hobby, haven't you? Another hobby.
Oh, Jesus. You're talking about my huerto, aren't you?
I'm talking about your allotment. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, again, everything happened at once. We decided because we're going to retire. We had a nice villa around in Riviera del Sol, which we loved to bits. But we realised we wanted to travel when we retired. So we thought we're going to downsize and buy an apartment. That's why we live right next door to the Nurry now. And in my garden, I always used to grow my own veggies.
Right.
All my mates call me Farmer Hook, because I'd always grow far too much, and I'd walk into the shop with all the staff and give them loads of stuff. So after talking to you, I went down to the town hall and put my name on the list, not expected to hear anything for 10 years. And that was in April. In November, I got a call from the town hall. Can you be at the Huertos, which by Chaparral School? tomorrow. I said, well, I can't. I'm away tomorrow. Oh, that's a shame. He said, but never mind, come in the office. You've got your huerto.
Right.
And what I missed was actually the Lord Mayor presenting the keys to all the people who have been
All the new
given one of
allotment
the
holders.
allotments. So I missed the opportunity to shake hands with the Lord Mayor, a good friend of yours, I understand.
Indeed, indeed, yeah. And as far as I know, you're the first foreigner to get one of these municipal allotments, aren't you?
Well, I'm a bit of a rare thing. The first day I walked on there, because it's surrounded by wire fencing and everything else, so it's all very secure. And I had no idea what was going to be in there. I'd seen it from the roads and stuff. And I was met by this very burly looking guy, and he said, "Who are you?" And my Spanish is okay to a certain level, but like Calagueña Spaniards is it's a different kind of accent, you know.
Yeah,
But I can make myself understood. Unfortunately, what they do, they give you a special ID card in the town hall when you get the keys, so you can identify yourself.
right.
And he's looking at me very carefully, and he's saying, "Hmm." I says, "Is there any other Gearys?" You know, they call us Gearys
They
here.
call
It's
us
not
giddies.
disrespectful. So we just are. We're Gearys. I said, she says, there's 55 plots. You're the only Brit. There's one Argentinian and one Italian.
Right.
He said, how old are you? And I told him, and he looked at me, and you like Spaniards pull down the cheek above below their eye and look at you
Yeah.
quizzically, and he said, "Tú eres muy buen conservado."
You're looking good for your age.
Well, I don't know, I think he was actually taking the mickey. But anyway, he's been good as gold, and the rest of them, I've actually met quite a few of them over the years, and they come up and help me out, and
Yeah.
you know, you get advice whether you want it or not, and I'm quite happy to take the advice.
I mean, it is a fantastic area for growing fruit and veg here, isn't it? Especially if you've got a reliable water supply. It is a fantastic area for growing fruit and veg.
Well, this what astonished me was, I mean, this is the only boat I've got, being an expat Brit, is in Mijas, and so I always like to place my vote. Uh, because the facilities provided are fantastic. I mean, it's free. There's no charges for these allotments. There's water on every plot. There's security. There's toilets on site. It's a great facility for retired people. And there's
Sure.
not only guys up there. My Maria next to me, she's always giving me advice. She's great at growing on tomatoes. I don't know whether she's giving me advice or telling me off half the time, but it's a great thing. And of course, all this rain we've just had, it's like a quagmire up there.
Yeah.
My neighbours, I mean, this is a new block I'm in 2 years, so you're still getting new neighbours. So we've got a Navigolf group in a WhatsApp group, and I have got so much surplus because it's all just come on. I've got
It's just
cauliflowers the size of footballs, and I've got far too many of them. So I'm walking around the various apartments. Who wants a cauliflower? And who wants beetroot? So I make a load of
yeah.
friends just through that in itself, and it's
Yeah.
great fun.
Well, I live in the countryside and I've got a bit of land here, and I did for some years grow my own fruit and vegetables. My problem though then, it's changed since that point, was my water supply. In that, in those days, my water came from a well which we shared with two or three other neighbors. And in the summer we had problems, and if the pump was going to break down or the water level was going to drop, it would always happen in August, where you can't get an engineer anywhere to sort it. So
No,
yeah, so I
August in Andalusia, no one works. You cannot get anything done at all.
yeah. So Dave has got a suggestion, which you can probably see here, that
I've just seen it.
if you've got an excess of Brussels sprouts, you can use those for practice on the golf course.
My Brussels sprouts are probably harder than golf balls.
Well,
They break the club face.
yeah, I mean the kind of biodegradable golf balls, aren't they?
True enough. True enough. I mean, it's what's he saying? Balata sprout. Good one, yeah, balata sprout. Sense of humour, your director there.
Oh, Dave has got a good sense of humour. You have no idea.
No, I mean, the thing about golf balls, you said about round Lenoria and around all the golf courses here, all the golf balls are recycled because we golfers lose them by the bucket load.
Right.
And you drive up the Lecala Golf Road, there must be 20 cars sitting there with vans, all these guys selling golf balls. One of the things we used to do, we used to logo golf balls for various people, for gifts, for golf societies and everything
Right.
else. And one day I got this guy come in, and you learn to recognize in the business what are quality golf balls. This guy came in, he said, I want you to put a logo on all these golf balls. And they're all just pure white, nothing on them.
Mhm.
And I could tell straight away they were rubbish, even though they're all brand new. And he wanted me to put Nike ticks on them all.
All right. Okay.
So I decided to decline that business. So
Yeah, because at the business you also do printing onto logos and things onto hats and t-shirts and all these kind of things, don't you?
yeah, it's that again was going back to the early days when we get golf societies, a big group coming down from the UK, maybe 30, 40 guys and women, and they wanted t-shirts, polo shirts. So I thought to myself, this is an opportunity. So I'd give them a quote on that, and then I'd have to trot all the way down to San Pedro to get them embroidered. And I got fed up of doing that. So decided to teach myself how to digitize by going on one of the courses in the UK,
Right.
one of the software providers, and we invested in embroidery machines, and that's great
Right.
business.
Yeah. And I saw Pepe at the beginning of this week when Sunshine Golf were donating collars with Adopt Me for one of the dog
Nice. Yeah.
shelters around here.
Yeah.
And it was quite funny because I took a photo of him with the collar, blue collar, a little sort of bandana, and it said "Adopt Me," and he said that he's had 3 offers already, but one was only willing to foster.
Pepe's a great guy. I mean, he's got a little Yorkshire Terrier, Bicho,
Right.
which means little bug.
Yeah.
But I hesitate to tell him in South American Spanish, it actually means little penis.
All right.
So he wasn't happy with that one.
Oh God, that reminds me of a story, but I couldn't tell it live on radio. I'll tell you next time we meet for a coffee, Ken. So we've just got 2 minutes, Ken, and so you've been doing a bit of golf, but taking a break from some of the golfing after all these years absorbed in golf. You've got your allotment. You're very much integrated into the whole sort of life down here, aren't you now?
Yeah, I mean, it's a privilege to live here. We live in a blessed environment, and people generally are here. They want to enjoy themselves. They've got a smile on their face. And how could you not every morning? 330 days of sunshine, notwithstanding this last 2 weeks. It's a great place to live, and it just puts people in a good mood. And I just
Yeah.
love wandering around the village, just chatting to people. It's a great place to be.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're well settled, but you've also got your itchy feet because you're doing a little bit of traveling here and there now as well, aren't you? That you can.
Yeah, well, again, COVID knocked a lot of that. My wife and I were determined we're just going to disappear around the world for a couple of years, and we still got to do that. Mind you, Spain is a wonderful country.
Yeah.
We've last couple of years we've just been taking ourselves off around Spain. It's just an amazing country.
It is, yeah, and there are so many places actually close to where we live that are quite out of the ordinary. I know been down to Setenil de las Bodegas, which is
Well, it's a fabulous place.
it's an incredible little town, isn't it? Built underneath the mountains, with overhangs, and the raw mountains on the inside. Ken, our time is up. I want to thank you so much for joining me today. It's been real fun talking to you about this, and
It's been a pleasure. Thanks for inviting me.
we need to catch up over a beer at some point, Ken. I guess
Yeah,
you
well, I
won't be
keep on
doing
tripping.
you won't
You got more places than I do.
yeah you won't be doing much golfing or gardening this weekend. I think it's going to be another wet one. So whatever you're doing, have a good one, Ken, and thank you again so much for joining me today. And thank you to Dave, our producer, for his witty comments on the
Yeah,
side
thank you,
panel
Dave. I
here.
enjoyed some of those.
Take care, everyone. Have a wonderful weekend wherever you are, and we'll be back next week at the same time. Take care.
No problem.